guys, welcome back to my channel. My name's Angie. If you're new here, make sure you hit the subscribe button down below to join our family. So in today's video, I'm going to be talking to you guys about how to cosplay and do Halloween sustainably and affordably. So if you guys are interested, keep on watching. Spooky season is literally around the corner, and this is a popular time of year for our Halloween and costume lovers, but also for cosplayers. October is actually one of the most saturated months for cosplay and costume content in general. Every October, I take on my 12 days of Cosplaytober, and I know a handful of other cosplayers and creators who do things like 31 days of cosplays, 31 days of looks, etc, etc. Now when it comes to cosplays and Halloween costumes, especially during this month when you're trying to achieve a certain look, especially if it's last minute or you have a lot of other things going on, hence Halloween parties, get-togethers, etc, etc, it can be easy to just run straight to Amazon and buy the costume that you need. But from one cosplayer to another, cosplaying is an expensive hobby, and Halloween costumes aren't cheap anymore either, although I'm not sure they ever were. Now I've been cosplaying for the last 6 years, but over the past 2 years I've been cosplaying in a more sustainable mindset, and I have saved so much money in the process. So I'm here to share my tips with you guys. And maybe you're not a cosplayer, but you're a big fan of Halloween and you want to know how you can do as many looks as possible without breaking the bank. This information is for you too. Now the first tip I have for you guys is very straightforward. Everybody's gonna be like, oh, if this is all you were talking about, then I knew this already, but it's thrifting. Outside of just not shopping at all and not consuming any more than what you already have, thrifting is probably the most sustainable way to cosplay and do Halloween. Now outside of characters that might wear a uniform or have like a really unique look that you would probably have to have a professional make, a lot of characters actually do just wear regular clothes or variations of regular clothes. Now for example, let's say you wanted to cosplay Nana Osaki from Nana. You don't have to go and buy a Nana Osaki cosplay. What's her signature look? It's a pleated checkered red and black mini skirt. It's a black top, maybe some lace to it. It's a cheetah print jacket. These are all things you can walk into the thrift store right now and find. Maybe not the first thrift store you go into, but if you go to a couple or if you have a thrift store that you frequent and you know they have the best selection, there's a big chance you can find exactly what you're looking for from her outfit in the thrift store. Now over the past couple years, the number of cosplays that I've done that have been closet cosplays has increased greatly from the cosplays I've done in the past. Now this is mainly because I started to do more characters that weren't from anime, like things like Cartoon Network and Nickelodeon and Disney characters. However, there are still quite a few characters from anime and video games, etc. that you can cosplay with just clothes that you already own or that you could find at a thrift store or even in a friend's closet. Now some of the characters that I've done closet cosplays for with help from the things that I found in the thrift store include Trixie Tang, Debbie Thornberry from the Wild Thornberries, Kate from Shadow's House, and most recently Spinelli from Recess. A lot of characters' outfits also consist of basics that you can definitely find in thrift stores. If you're cosplaying a character who wears more of a schoolgirl or a schoolboy uniform, you can find, if you don't already own, a white button down and a slew of different kinds depending on what you're looking for specifically. Things like slacks, leather jackets, socks, tights, scarves, whatever you might need for that character, you can usually find at a thrift store. Now my big tip when it comes to thrifting is to find out if you have a favorite or a local thrift store that you like to frequent, is to see what days they do their special discount days. Now my local thrift store actually does 50% off everything every Monday. So I go every single Monday with my list and I check off all the things that I can get for each character, and then once they're all checked off, then you guys get a cosplay. One of the reasons I actually started switching over to doing more closet cosplays was not only just the money and the fact that cosplaying is not sustainable. You end up with a lot of clothes that, one, are not normal enough that you could wear them in your everyday wardrobe, or they're not practical, or they're not comfortable, or they're way too hot. Cosplays are way too hot. That's one of the big reasons why I stopped, but another reason was a lot of times you buy things and you end up with the same thing over and over and over again. I've cosplayed quite a few characters where they're wearing their school uniform, and you won't believe how many white button downs you get every time you buy the actual costume. Rather than buying a cosplay of a uniform every single time, especially if it's a school uniform, you know you already have a white button down shirt somewhere, or you can find one at the thrift store for $3 or borrow one from a friend or a family member. Then all you have to do is find the other pieces of the costume. Depending on what the costume looks like, these can be thrifted or you can buy them from somebody who resells them. Now I was never one to buy cosplays that people resold because, first of all, I guess it just never crossed my mind that people do resell their cosplays. I never really thought about it until I finally decided it was time for me to do Princess Hibana from Fire Force. This has been a cosplay I'd been wanting to do for such a long time, but the jacket that she wears, which is a signature part of her look, the cost of it at the time was exorbitant. But the one that I have, I actually purchased from a reseller, somebody reselling it that they wore to a con, and I got it off eBay for, I think it was $45. Like 20 for the coat coat, and it came with everything. It was the coat, her little belt, and the dress. It was the full costume, and somebody was reselling for $20, and I think it was $20 to ship it because that coat is heavy. Now, because I did buy this cosplay from somebody else, it wasn't actually the size that I wear, but it's fine because it's a jacket, so I don't mind if it's oversized. The rest of the costume, however, meaning the dress, actually didn't fit me, and I ended up using a similar dress that I already had in my own closet. She also has pink hair, pearl necklace, and heels. I used white boots that I already had in my closet, a pink wink that I already had from a cosplay I had done prior, and a pearl necklace that I already owned, which meant that the only thing I actually had to buy outside of the costume, which I bought from somebody who was reselling it, was the contacts. So I was able to get a complete cosplay done for about $50, including the things I already had, when had I bought everything new, it would have been upwards of $100, probably more teetering towards $150. So while you might not be able to walk into the thrift store and find a full cosplay, you can definitely search places like eBay, Mercari, Depop, and Poshmark to find people who are reselling cosplays that they've worn in the past. And oftentimes cosplayers know these costumes are expensive and they take really good care of them because they want to sell them so they can make their money back and probably buy another cosplay. Now, as far as Halloween costumes go, a lot of people end up reselling or donating their costumes. A lot of times people will buy these extravagant Halloween costumes, and as soon as November 1 hits, they sell it or donate it and they never wear it ever again. So why should you pay $70 for the same cosplay or costume when somebody's already selling it or donating it? Now, of course, the best time to usually shop for Halloween costumes, especially if you're buying one from a reseller on like eBay or Depop, is usually in the off season, because sometimes people will have them listed, but usually when Halloween rolls around, they tend to up the prices because they know people are looking for them. You might also be able to shop for the donated Halloween costumes at your thrift store before the actual season that they put them out. It would just kind of help to probably befriend an employee or two, or see if you can speak to a manager to see if they have any that they can show you, because usually they have those items tucked away before the season, but sometimes they get them ready early that you can still check them out before it's spooky season officially. Now, this next tip I have is definitely more sustainable, but when it comes to being more frugal and budget friendly, it can really vary. But this would be to make your own cosplays. Now look, I get it. Sewing is a big project. It's time consuming. You have to learn. There's a lot of room for error, and I say this as someone who's learning how to sew for the second time, because the first time, well, obviously I didn't learn, because if I did, I would know how now. If you have friends or a family member who knows how to sew, you can always ask for their assistance in helping you make a costume, or you could commission someone, although this might be on the pricier end of things. But of course, when push comes to shove, there's no better duo than you and your hot glue gun. Now, one thing that I recently heard another cosplayer talking about was how she knows how to sew, and she actually reworks a lot of her old cosplay costumes into new ones. This is a really cool concept and something I would absolutely love to tackle one day once I know how to sew. But if you know anybody who already knows how to sew, or if you yourself know how to sew, this is definitely something I would consider exploring, because this could be very, very financially friendly. Another thing that I'm not sure if it truly happens, but I think it would be a cool idea, is if there was some sort of cosplayer or costume swap meet. Let's say you want to be a character and I want to be that character. Well, let's just trade our costumes. Like, I think that would be so successful, and if people are actually looking to sell them, like, it could really be like a trade and barter kind of thing. I've never seen anything like this, but I think this would go off without a hitch at like a convention, and maybe I need to suggest that to somebody, because I think it would be a great way for a lot of cosplayers to get rid of cosplay pieces that they don't use anymore and usher in cosplay pieces for cosplays that they want to achieve. Now, the last thing I want to touch on, because I feel like I don't see a lot of people talk about this, but I know a lot of people create content in this way, is for people who do more of like the FX cosplays. These are the people who do a lot of editing, but you don't see a lot of video footage, or they don't actually take the cosplay in person to conventions. If you know how to edit, you literally can edit anything. And sometimes I forget, like, I can edit anything I want into a picture. And if you know how to edit, that's something you can do as well. So I've had cosplays that I've done where I'm not at all wearing the right color shirt that the character is wearing, but because I'm only taking pictures and I'm not wearing it to a con and I'm not going to be doing a video, I can just edit the color of my shirt to look like the characters in post. You can do this with a lot of things. This is how I achieved my Shadows House cosplay with Kate. She's wearing a red velvet dress. I only had the top, but I edited the top to look like the dress. I also did this with my Confessions of a Teenage Drama Queen cosplay. I took the actual, I guess it's like a flower or like a brooch that she had. I literally edited off of Lindsay Lohan and put it onto me. At first I was like, oh, how do I buy this? No. just edited on, like I wasn't gonna be doing a video or anything like that in that cosplay. It was strictly for the photos. So if you are like a photo cosplayer, or if you know you wanna do a cosplay and you're not interested at all in doing transition videos and skits, or even wearing it to a convention, you can literally have clothes that just look similar to what the character is actually wearing, and then just edit it however you need to. Don't forget that you can take the colors, the patterns, props. You can do so much. I can't tell you guys how many times I've edited in a prop or contacts or something that was not at all in the actual photo to make it look as closely to the character I'm cosplaying or recreating as possible. And this is incredibly affordable and sustainable. I have one shirt that I have used for like 3 different characters, and I just change the colors of the shirt. Or I'll just go into my closet and go, this looks like what they're wearing, but I don't have exactly that, so I'll just edit it in post. If you're just looking to get the pictures done, especially for people who are doing things like 31 days of cosplay, which who has time to really do a video every single day unless you started 3 months ago, and maybe the most you have time for is the pictures, you can get away with so much. Open up your closet and get creative. I hope you guys found this information helpful. I hope it breathed some inspiration into you. I know it can be easy to get down when you're like really want to do a cosplay but you can't afford it, or you can't find it, or it doesn't exist, or whatever it may be. But just know that you do have the resources to kind of bring that costume or that character to life with what you've already got, or what might be sitting down the street at your local thrift store. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll see you in my next video. Bye.